The last NASCAR Cup Series race in Pocono was nothing but drama for Corey Lajoie. Although he didn't have a strong race, he did turn some heads and anger some other drivers with his performance, especially Kyle Busch. Just seconds after the incident, he was heard over the radio blaming Busch for the whole thing. As the final stage of the race started in Pocono, Lajoie found himself right behind Kyle Busch, who was running in 16th. As the race restarted from a caution, Corey went into full attack mode, while Busch went into full defense mode. Corey received a bit of a push from the car behind, which gave him some momentum. However, Busch was able to use his years of experience to keep him behind. But as the cars approached the first corner, Lajoie was desperate to get past Busch and decided to take a very low line. He ended up hitting Busch's side rear and sent him spinning across the track and out of the race. Just seconds later, Lajoie came onto the radio to say, "He hooked himself. Fuck him," his crew chief said. "We ain't worried about him. We're worried about ourselves." Lajoie and his crew were rather careless about the drivers whose races were ruined by Corey's actions. Corey thought that Busch was at fault for the incident and that he had to attempt that move on the inside. And we think that you're missing out on a lot by not following our channel. But I guess it's only for true NASCAR fans. Think you're a true NASCAR fan? Hit that subscribe button and prove it. Corey Lajoie is a midfield driver in the Cup Series this season. He's had only one top 10 finish, which came at the very first race. Since then, his performance has been very poor. Drivers like Lajoie have nothing to lose going into every race. Hence, they're more willing to take certain risks that other drivers would hesitate to take. When you're driving at the front of the field, battling for wins, you have a lot more to lose. Lajoie is not in that position. Here's what he said after the race. "I got a big push from the number 16, AJ Allmendinger," Lajoie said. "When you're 20th back there, it's in the hornet's nest, and you're 7 wide into turn 1. If you're not the guy on the bottom, somebody else behind you is going to jam it in there and put you freaking middle, right? I had a bit of a run. Number 16 gave me a big shot," Lajoie said. "I got to the left rear of the number 8 and he blocked it once, and I just kind of held the wheel straight, and I was almost anticipating our bumpers kind of lining up and giving him a little bit of a shove. But when he blocked it the second time, it just turned him across my nose. I'm sure he's mad," Lajoie said. "I'm sure there are guys that got caught up that were mad, but I don't feel like it was a bonehead move. I had a run. I got to the left rear. He blocked me twice, and the second time, he spun out." When asked if he would have done things differently if he had got the chance to go at it again, he said, "No, you've got to take the run," said Lajoie, who was hampered by a lap 96 pit road speeding penalty. "You know, I don't want to. I'm not the guy that wants to wreck anybody. But I think if Kyle blocks only once, then we both go around the corner and live to fight another day. But that second block that he thought he had it covered, and he didn't, was what did him in, and did a couple other guys in. But man, it is really hard. It's so freaking hard to run 19th. I mean, it's all I got, tongue hanging out, so you have to be perfect. I think Kyle and I have been racing around each other long enough. We're not going to smash into each other on purpose," Lajoie said. "We both are guys that feel like we belong, certainly him. But I mean, I'm not going to say sorry. I'm not sorry about it, because that was the thing. If the shoe was on the other foot, the exact same thing would have happened, and I think he would probably say that." While Lajoie did blame the accident on Busch on the radio, judging from the footage available, it looked as though Lajoie was at fault there. But he did show some sympathy towards the drivers whose race was wrecked by the accident. "Hate it. Took out him and some other guys, but that's just what you have to do. You have to take momentum when you have it, because if you don't, the guy behind you is going to put you in a worse spot than you're going to put the guy in front of you. That's just how the racing is," Lajoie described as per racer. As I mentioned before, Corey had nothing to lose by making that move, but he has faced a lot of criticism since. One among these critics is RCR team owner Richard Childress. "That damn 7, Lajoie, is a weapon. A damn weapon," Childress said. After all, Busch was driving Richard Childress's car. While Richard was furious about the incident, Busch was a bit more relaxed. Here's what he said. "It doesn't matter what I think. You have mirrors and cameras and everything else. So you try to get in front of the run that's coming. And I was trying to get in front of that run, and sometimes some don't lift." He didn't want to talk any more about the incident. Whenever he was asked to comment on it, he just thanked his sponsors and got on with his day. But he was not the only driver who was affected by the incident. Harrison Burton, Ryan Preece, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. were all taken out of the race due to that incident. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. understood why Corey took that risk down the inside at the very first corner. The 8, Kyle Busch, was trying to block the 7, Corey Lajoie. The 7 was pretty aggressive, going to the inside. I felt like he was going to be too early for crashes to happen. This happened at Nashville, obviously. I restarted on the bottom and felt like, alright, maybe we could get through one corner, and I picked the top, and a guy crashes as well. So I guess the safest place is the bottom of these restarts. Seems like nobody just lifts from the inside and kind of wipes off the track and cleans us out, he added. It's quite simple. The car that takes the inside line will have a better advantage against the car taking the outside line, as the inside line is much shorter. Especially in tracks like Pocono, the driver on the inside has a good advantage. But the line Corey took was maybe a bit too extreme. After the race, fans took to social media to debate whether Corey Lajoie should be penalized for that accident. Respected NASCAR reporter Jordan Bianchi has given his thoughts on that matter. There's enough shadow of doubt here on whether it was malicious or deliberate. Was it a very aggressive move? Yes, on restarts though, you were very aggressive. We see it all the time where drivers will fan out. Somebody throws a block and the other guy who got blocked will go lower on the track and try to go below him. That's what happened here, Bianchi said. I don't think it was a deliberate attempt to wreck him. I think it was a miscalculation. I think he made a mistake, and the consequences unfortunately knocked out 4, 5, 6 guys, Bianchi added. Bianchi believes that NASCAR will not give Lajoie a penalty or a fine. He thinks the accident was not deliberate and does not warrant a penalty considering how NASCAR has handled similar situations in the past. Corey Lajoie will be relieved as he already has enough problems at the moment. With just 5 races to go, Lajoie is well outside the cutoff for the playoffs. His only option to make it is to win a race within the next 5 weeks, and this is next to impossible considering the season he has been having so far. Just last year, Lajoie signed a multi-year contract with Spire Motorsport and stated that he would drive for the team for several years. Despite this fact, Corey might start to doubt Spire Motorsport's future in the NASCAR Cup Series after this season. Corey has never been one of the top drivers on the grid. However, he has also not been given one of the top cars on the grid. So after his contract is complete, or maybe even sooner, Corey may want to start looking at other teams for opportunities. But at the moment, it seems as though Corey will remain with Spire Motorsport. But he would want to avoid making stupid mistakes like the one he made at Pocono. Although some still think it was not his fault and that Busch really did get hooked. Do you think Corey Lajoie was at fault for the incident with Kyle Busch at Pocono? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.